question for those of you who might be struggling with some neck issues. Question I have here is, do you have any stretches I can do to help my neck? I wake up and can barely move my head. There is extreme tightness in my neck and shoulder. I know this pain and tightness is the result of how I sleep. Do you know that for sure? Would be the first question I would have in response. Looks like a two-part question here. I also have a My Pillow. Should I switch pillows? So let's cover the first part of the question. Do you have any stretches I can do to help my neck? So I'll go through really quickly a couple easy ones, and these are in the truest sense of the word stretches. Typically, stretches are things that we do to add some length to a muscle. They're a little bit more passive in nature, meaning that you are doing something with your hand, or you're pulling it, or something is helping you get into that range. So that is a good starting point. That can give you some relief. We'll go over those. The response question I have to that question is, what have you done for it so far? Typically, in a lot of cases, people have already tried stretching. They've maybe tried ibuprofen or Aleve. They've maybe tried deep tissue work or massage, and either it helps and it kind of gets them over the hump, or it gives them temporary relief and then it kind of comes right back. So the first thing that I would want to know is, have you done anything else for it, and what has that been? If it's been stretching and you're still having problems, then we might want to look at strength in your upper back and your shoulder blades. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. So the first part is stretches. All right, I'll try to answer your question here without getting too off topic. So if we're talking about neck here and upper traps here, which are usually common areas, and then a little bit more side of the neck and then a little bit more back of the neck, there's two really common go-to ones. And again, these are meant to add some length, maybe give you some relief. In a lot of cases, again, we're going to want to get to the underlying cause of this. So if you're tight, stretches can help relieve tightness, but it doesn't necessarily get to the bottom of why you're tight. If it's a way you sleep, certainly if you notice that trend is happening, then we'd want to talk about sleep habits and positioning a little bit as well. But the first thing is, let's stretch the upper trap. So first thing you're going to do here is you're going to take, if I want to stretch this is my left side. If I want to stretch my left side, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to grab kind of up and over across the head, and I'm going to pull my ear to my shoulder. Okay. Now a lot of times what will happen is people will kind of start to lean and side bend, and this shoulder will creep up. So one thing you can do, take your left hand, bring it behind you and kind of tuck it in your belt, or just bring it to the small of the back, and then as you lean and pull away, that shoulder will stay kind of depressed down and you won't have any issues there. And you want to hold that about 30 to 45 seconds, 60 seconds. Now please keep in mind as we go through here, this is something that I feel kind of goes without saying when I'm giving you advice over the interwebs, but make sure that you've been formally evaluated or medically evaluated by somebody that you know, like, and trust, to make sure that this is a good idea to be doing for you. This does not replace a medical evaluation or a diagnosis or anything like that. So there's our first disclaimer. If you should have any pain or problems with that right off the bat, where it increases or it feels really bad, certainly stop, get out of the position, let us know. We're happy to help. But it's very tough when we do these Q&As. I'm trying to give people info. I'm trying to give you a broad base of information to go from, and I actually want to give you some actionable tools or steps, but you got to be really careful. This does not replace a diagnosis or a medical evaluation in that case, and therefore we would not be liable for any treatment that you take that causes more or less issues. So you'd obviously do both sides. Take the opposite hand, reach up and across. We're going to depress the shoulder down by bringing the hand to the small of the back or tucking it in the belt line, and coming across that way about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, so that's going to do really well to get upper traps kind of along the side of the neck here, and it just feels good in general. All right, another thing you got to be careful about there is if you're having any pinched nerve or actual disc or pinched nerve in the neck, you got to, again, this is where the evaluation and figuring out what happens comes into play. The other one, really quickly, to get more of the back of the neck and directly up here, if you're having tightness up through here, again, if I want to stretch my right side, I'm going to take my left hand, and now I'm reaching more for the back opposite corner of my head, and I'm pulling my nose down towards my armpit. And the easiest way to remember this one is just imagine that you're going to smell your armpit. So you're pulling down towards, so my nose angles down towards my armpit, and then again the force with my hand is gentle down. I'm going to take my opposite hand now and maybe reach opposite shoulder blade. Similar position. I want to keep that right side, I want to keep in a good position so that I'm not compensating. And on that exercise you can come up and across and then pulling it down that way. 30 seconds and switch sides. Okay, so that right, or this hand here, right here, I'm just kind of reaching for my opposite shoulder blade, and positionally that's what helps really lengthen out the muscle along the back of the neck there. Okay. All right, hello De La Cruz, thanks for hopping on. Mark has a question. 30 pounds. Okay, we'll go over that briefly. That's a good one. I got to finish question 1 here. So, going back, the other part of this. There's extreme tightness. I know this is pain as a result of how I sleep. So, again, making sure that you know for sure that tightness is because of how you sleep is important. So, if you're waking up consistently and it's always first thing in the morning, yes, there's a strong chance that how you sleep is a problem. There's also a chance that the muscles that you're waking up with feeling tight are overworking throughout the day. All right, so just think about it for a second. Those muscles are working throughout the day, they're working hard, but they're moving, so you don't have a lot of problems. When you go down and you lay down and sleep and hopefully have sweet dreams at night, not dreaming about me taking needles and going through those upper traps or anything like that, when you are in a state or in a position for a long period of time, and then you have to get up and move again, a lot of times your muscles are like, oh, come on, we were finally getting some rest and we were kind of finally not having to do work, and now you're asking us to do work again, and so they get cranky and angry. So I agree that there can be some sleep position issues, which we'll talk about in a split second here, but you also again want to look at strength of the upper back, strength of the shoulder blade muscles, strength of the actual neck itself. Are you strong enough to handle what you're asking your body to do throughout the day and then not paying the price for it the next morning when you wake up? All of this stuff, I could give you some different clues or some different self-tests to do next week. If I don't have good questions or a list of questions, maybe that's something we'll go over. But yeah, there's some tests you want to do for strength. And then sleep positioning. So you have a MyPillow, and you're wondering if that's good. So I've heard good things about the MyPillow. What I've heard about the MyPillow is it does a good job of, for one pillow, giving the right amount of support and positioning for the neck. So to simplify a complex thing, which is sleep, because we move and we don't always know what position we're in, and sometimes we get in positions and we have no idea if it's the right position or not because we're sleeping. The thing that I would say about is we want the spine to be in as neutral or normal curvature as possible while we're sleeping. So if you're on your side, and I'm going to just use this side example, if we're on the side and the pillow has too much support, our head is going to be, I got to get used to the camera here, it's kind of like playing a video game backwards or something. So on your side, too much support, the head cricks up towards the ceiling, right? That wouldn't be ideal. That's too much support, you have too much fluff, you have too much pillow, you have too many pillows, and now your head is kind of cricked up. Too little support on your side, and now the head is, geez, this is hard. Now the head is angled down towards the bed, and you don't have enough support, and therefore you're losing the curvature that way. So I would just, have somebody assess. If you lay on your side, or you look in the mirror, if you lay on your side, are you keeping your head, pretty neutral with your shoulder line, or are you getting cricked one way or the other? The other thing that I would say is a lot of people will do the old tuck. Yeah, I'm going to show off the pipes again here. If you do the old tuck of the arm under the pillow and then lay that, well, naturally what has a tendency to happen a little bit is you shorten up some of the stuff in here, and then you stay in that position for a long period of time. So maybe some things to think about in terms of not trying to get stuck in that position for a long period of time. But when we have issues with sleep, it's always a little bit of cat and mouse, because you have to sleep. You have to get comfortable. I will always prioritize you actually sleeping and getting the benefit of that versus over analyzing positioning and whatnot.